Hello, I'm back with another video on C. Now, I have taken some constructive criticism about my previous videos, and the major thing that I'm changing is that, well, the previous video was too long, and so going forward, I'm going to try to keep it within like 10-15 minute videos and you know, make them easier, more easily digestible, so that you can just kind of throw on a video, be done in 10 to 15 minutes, and then move on with your life. So, and they're also easier for me to push out. So, there you go. So today we're going to start programming a little bit. We are going to look at variables, and we're going to look at data types. Learn a little bit about those. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Let's open our code editor again. So this is where we kind of left off last time in Visual Studio Code, which is our IDE, our code editor. Let's start with the the simplest program that you can possibly make in C. All right. There, that's it. That's the smallest basic program that you can make in C. Hey, G from the future here. I wrote return 1. That should have been return 0. So, if I now compile that and run that, you can see it runs, no errors, we're happy. I did things a little bit differently this time. You can see that instead of void here, I wrote int, and instead, and then this return 1 is kind of new. The reason I'm doing this, this is best practice, is that this function returns an integer. We're going to talk more about what these things are, but it expects something returned. So basically, this is our starting point. Main is where the program starts. Everything in the curly brackets of main here is where the program starts. And then if it returns 1, it executed successfully. If it returns 0, it ran into an issue. G from the future again. Like I said before, 0 means success, 1 means failure. So opposite of whatever I just said. Yes. It did not execute successfully. So that's what that is. Int stands for integer. So that is the most basic program that you can write. Now, any program contains data, some sort of data, and some sort of behavior. In C, data comes in multiple different forms, but here are some types of data types that you can use. For example, int. Int, again, stands for integer. Let's say I want to store a number in my code. My age, for example. I am 28 years old. So that's how I do that. Now I have stored a value in memory. That value is 28. It has a name, my age, and it is of the type integer. C is what we call statically typed, which means that you have to declare what data type you're storing in your variable. So compared to a programming language like Python, for example, where you don't need this. It's just kind of taken care of under the hood. In C, however, you do need to write the data type. So let's, for funsies, we're going to just print something to the page. So again, we saw this function last time. Printf, it prints something to the screen, right? Now, let me try to run this. You see, that gave me a warning. When I tried to compile this code, it says, Warning, implicit declaration of function printf, incompatible and blah, 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 blah. Note, include standard library IO or provide declaration of printf. So what it's saying is that on line 3 of my code, 1, 2, 3, this line, something went wrong with this printf. And the reason why this is going wrong is because we didn't include the standard IO library. stdio.h. Now this code should run. Wow, it printed something to the to our terminal. Very cool. Okay, let's clear this. So we've printed some text. Now I want to print my age to the screen. So okay, I want to print I'm something years old. Now, how do I put my age in here? How does that work? Because right now, I can try to run this. It says I'm years old. Like there's nothing there. So the way that we do that is we write %d, and then we pass another argument, my age, to this printf function. And then now it says I am 28 years old. So that's how you do that. You pass this variable that you've stored in memory into this function, and then it inserts it here. This print d is the way you do it for integers. So now let's try to add some other data in here. What if I want to print my name, for example? Well, there's a couple things you should know. First is that there is a data type called char for character. And I can call it, give it a name, single character. And I'm just going to say G. And that's fine and dandy. Let me now try to print that. Let me just copy paste this line right here. And single character, my nickname is, and then %c for character, and then that we'll try to run that. Okay. So a couple things to note. I'm 28 years old. My nickname is G. But notice how they both printed on the same line here. What if we don't want that? Well, we have something called escape characters. And one very useful escape character is this. That's what that looks like. -n. /n. /n. Which stands for newline. So now, if we try to compile and execute, you can see that it gave you a new line. It printed on separate lines. Very cool. So now, if I want to print my, let's try to add my name in here. That will fail because, and it says here, you have an error in this test.c file on line 5 here. This is because that, well, it says here, character constant too long for its type because char, that data type, only allows you to add one single character in there. So we can't do this, but we can do this. This little symbol here, these brackets, makes this what we call an array. So it's another, it's what we call a data structure. So we have primitive data types, which is integer, character, float, and double. And then you can create data structures that hold those primitive data types in more advanced ways, like an array. An array basically just holds a string of characters. It basically holds a list of characters, a string of characters. And so this, technically, is a string. Right? And so now we can say, let's add a new line here. My name is, and then percent %s, I believe, for string. And yeah, my name is Yedmun. So that's how you do that. You have, so now we've written a program. This program holds variables. These three are all variables. All of those variables have specific data types. We've been introduced to integer and characters, and also how to make a string of characters with an array. We also have seen that to let printf know which data type we want to print, we have to specifically tell it what data type we're passing to it here. So yeah, that's a little bit about data types and variables. There you go.